talk about Madam Web.
Okay.
And we aren't going to review it because neither of us have seen it.
No.
And we're
going to review the fallout.
As previously mentioned for the Marvels, we don't review reviews.
Yes.
But
we can discuss.
We have to talk about it.
Yes.
We have to talk about what's happening. To anybody who doesn't know what's happening, it's a shit show. It's a full-blown shit show.
Like bad.
Dakota Johnson, the lead, has gone full Ian McKellen and said, I don't know if it's a good movie. I don't know if I'll ever watch it.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty bad. It seems pretty bad. There was so much green screen. I have no idea how my performance was.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't care. And just like so much bad news. You were telling me that they redubbed Ezekiel's lines.
Yes.
And did it about as good as they did with Bane, except that Bane still had a mask over his mouth.
Yeah.
And so that's a problem.
So that's a big problem.
That's going to be a problem.
And it was, and once again, I'm not just going off of reviews because I've actually heard a couple discussions where the reviewers actually couldn't review it because they weren't sure what they watched.
Yeah.
And it's things like, in the trailer you see the Spider-Women, and that whole part is one dream of Ezekiel's. There's no other part in the movie where they're in the costumes.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
100%. Not even a single bit.
No, I'm sure.
And
I'd be amazed if she had a costume outside of the red coat that she stole from Julia Carpenter.
Yeah, but it's crazy. Like some of the things that they've discussed is Looney Tunes. Like literally, I want to see it just because I don't know if I can believe some of the things I've heard.
Yeah.
Because what I heard, if it is true, this could go down as the worst movie ever made.
What specifically did you hear that is making you think this?
Well, in the beginning, the mother who's pregnant, like really pregnant, is going through the rainforest with Ezekiel, and he kills everybody and shoots her, and she's rescued by spider people and gives birth. And next thing, Dakota Johnson is an EMT in New York City. So it's kind of like the Jesus thing where it's like, here's his birth. Well, you don't know anything. Now they're in their 30s. And this is where they are now. And
that's fucking dumb.
It's really dumb. But then there's just, the special effects are
of course bad.
Terrible. The product placement, Pepsi is supposedly, in fact, and folks, this is a spoiler if you want to see it. The main villain dies by a Pepsi sign falling on him. And once again, I'm hearing this hearsay.
Yeah.
But I trust these sources.
That's the thing, is that all the people that are saying this, I trust more than I trust Sony.
Exactly.
And by like a country mile.
And it's just like the dialogue is horrifically bad.
Yeah.
Like people are saying, there's always that rumor going around that ChatGPT is writing movies. They're like, this is the first one that I think there is no doubt that ChatGPT, even though the people that wrote this also wrote Morbius, and we know how well that turned out.
Why would you hire them again?
I don't understand. Unless this was like they had wrote it before Morbius came out or something. I don't know.
Even if we go to the usual that is that the Sony executives are ruining the product, which is an easy assumption to make. They have made it their mission to do this, to fucking get in there and scramble on things and make them worse as a result. I'm not blaming the writers, but I'm just gonna say, as bad as it could have been because of production, it's not like the story that we were given on Morbius was any good to begin with.
That's true.
And so it's hard for me to even be like, yeah, the writers were good too. It's not their fault. They might have had their hands tied at various points. They may have been told that they have to do something. But ultimately, the product that we were given still sucks.
The thing that I really want to see, and if this, and I believe this is true because you see it in the trailers, Ezekiel walks around without shoes on.
Yeah, that's canon.
But he then changes into his suit, which has...
Yeah, you know what's stupid about that?
Feet.
He didn't have a suit in the comics. He never wore a costume in the comics.
And that's what all the reviewers were saying was dumb. It's like, if you're going to have him walk around without shoes, why does he change into a costume that's obviously supposedly under his suit, and then it has shoes?
Yeah.
That doesn't really
That
make
looks like
sense.
a Spider-Man costume.
Exactly. It looks just like Spider-Man.
It looks like a knockoff of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting here like, this all sucks. And then I had the moment today where I was bursting around online, and I saw that they've scrapped the entire writer's room of Silk in response to this movie.
Yeah.
To which I say, oh no. Oh no. Oh no, no. Oh, don't. No. Leave her out of this. You don't need to. You don't know. Cindy Moon hasn't done anything to you. Okay? If you want to put Cindy Moon in the Spider-Verse movies, I am all for it, baby. If you want to put Cindy Moon in the MCU movies, that could be fun. That could be a thing. That could be really interesting, especially since we didn't see Peter get bit by his spider.
Yeah.
For anybody who doesn't know, Cindy Moon is Silk. Silk is a character who was a classmate of Peter Parker. She is bitten on the same field trip by the same spider as Peter Parker. But Ezekiel, who is the avatar of the spider, he senses her presence, and basically finds a way to kidnap her and hold her underground for an undisclosed period of time, because comic books time doesn't mean anything.
That doesn't mean shit.
So you don't know. You could say she was down there for 40 years, but she really wasn't canonically. Was she down there for 5 years? I think in canon, the 60s was 10 years ago in the comics. Like, it doesn't make any fucking sense, because of course it doesn't, because how fucking could it? Anyway, I love Silk. Silk is amazing. Silk is so cool and so badass, and she's just this amazing mirror to Peter Parker's character. I had thought, you brought in Ezekiel, it would make sense if you have Silk here somewhere. Man, I really hoped you had just left her alone.
Well, they need to leave everyone alone. Sony, I hate the fact that Venom did so well the first one, because the second one didn't do well.
No. They
They need to stop making superhero movies.
Yeah.
Because this one's going to get bombed. You know damn well Kraven the Hunter's not going to do well.
Oh.
So you're going to go Morbius, Madam Web, Kraven the Hunter, Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage. All of them massive bombs.
Yeah.
Stop fucking making movies, Sony. Stop.
Stop trying.
No superhero movies.
No. Stop.
Fucking
also,
stop.
Here's a crazy notion. It turns out that even if you have the greatest rogues gallery in the world, usually you don't tune in just for the rogues.
Yeah.
You know, when you're watching a Batman movie, I know some people are watching it for the Joker, but you're also kind of watching it for Batman.
Yeah.
Right? Like when you're watching The Batman from a few years ago, you're watching it just as much for the Batman as you are for the Riddler, probably more so.
Yeah.
The Riddler is kind of this foil, but you're really watching it for Batman. I can't imagine why all these movies who have taken out the central character that ties all of them together aren't working. It's crazy to me that none of this is working. Also, here's a concept for you. Have Madam Web be a celestial being. Here's an idea. Crazy notion for you. Maybe just stick with that one. Okay? If you want to have her be Julia Carpenter, that's fine. Then you can have Dakota Johnson be Julia Carpenter, and she's the second Madam Web, and she's taking over for the old Madam Web, who has become displeased with Ezekiel for whatever reason. And also, you can do the Inheritors if you really want to. You could do the Inheritors. Or the Beyonder. You could do the Beyonder.
Oh my
There's
God.
so many things you could do, and you're doing none of them. And I cannot stand it.
I don't want that. They can't do the Beyonder because
Not now they can.
I'm still holding out hope that Secret Wars is going to include the Beyonder.
I mean, how could it not? I guess if you do the
Come
new
on, we're
Secret
talking about
Wars.
MCU.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you're talking, because they would, I want them to scrap this Venom 3, which unfortunately they're fucking making, do Secret Wars, and reboot the symbiote to the way he actually fucking came about during Secret Wars when Peter Parker's on a different fucking planet.
And not the retcon where Deadpool put him on first and then put him back in the machine. I hate these retcons.
That's fucking stupid.
I hate that this nonsense with the Clintar, where they are now this hive mind that can communicate multidimensionally. I hate it.
Yeah,
listen,
it's fucking stupid.
I hate it. It's so fucking dumb and it doesn't make any fucking sense, and I hate it. I hate it so fucking much. It's stupid and it's dumb and I hate it.
Yeah.
I look at this, I'm still mad that they aren't doing Ben Reilly. If you need you have a Spider-Man you can use. Like, it's not even like you can't use a Spider-Man. There's one right here.
Well, they could do a fucking Miles Morales movie.
You could do anything. Like, you could do so many things. I would take Spider-Man at this point. Spider-Man, for anybody who doesn't know, is if Aunt May got bit by the spider.
About that.
Okay? So, like, I'm serious. I'm so fucking done with this shit.
But you're right, though. It's like, if you want to make a movie that you're guaranteed to sell billions of dollars in tickets, you make a Miles Morales Spider-Man movie and say it's not part of the MCU, it's not part of Across the Spider-Verse. It's just we're rebooting the Spider-Man franchise in our universe. You can have Tom Holland's Spider-Man MCU. We're creating Miles Morales and say it's in a different universe if you ever want to do a cross thing.
See, Miles has been in a lot of shit.
But see, that's the thing, though. It's like you already have the introduction to him in the animated and in the fucking video game. It's like you have it set up.
It's almost too much. You know, like, listen, I
It
come
could
from,
be.
I
It
come
could
from
be.
a point of view of Spider-Man was ruined when Sony decided after Spider-Man 3 that great power, great responsibility was too tawdry and we needed to not include it, or at least not directly reference it.
Yeah.
It's like taking Batman's parents' murder out.
Yeah.
It's not like having them not go to the Zorro, but they still get killed. No, this is a fully different fucking thing if you take this element out of the story. Ever since then, there's only been problems. Whether it's the stupid Martin Sheen arguing with Peter and trying to convince him without saying great power, great responsibility to do the right thing, or whether it's the fact that Tom Holland doesn't seem to have any conceit of that on any philosophical level.
I wonder why he doesn't have conceit about that.
I don't know. It's almost like he doesn't have
Do you
an
think
uncle.
An Uncle Ben? You don't need Uncle Ben to be Spider-Man.
But he had that one suitcase that had BP on it.
Oh,
so
that's
he's got to have an
right.
Uncle Ben, even though Aunt May doesn't have a wedding ring and does not show any sign of having been in a serious committed relationship recently, where her husband tragically died in a murder.
And they made her a lot younger and hotter. It's like...
She's not just younger and hotter. She's an open MILF where everybody, the only thing that they say whenever they see her is, man, I want to tap that.
And Happy does. Oh, God, it still makes me cringe.
I hate it. From the guy at the Vietnamese restaurant they go to Ned, to fucking everybody is like, man, your aunt...
Yeah.
Fucking, dude, that's gotta be tight.
Didn't I see her in The Wrestler and her tits out? To go with this, though, and this does play into the superhero shit we're having now. My son, I am showing him the MCU movies finally.
Okay.
We watched Captain America already. He loved it.
Yes.
The other day, we watched Iron Man.
Oh, great.
And after Iron Man, I said to my wife, I was like, it's amazing how good these early movies were.
Yeah.
And it makes you really question how they went so far off track.
They stopped making a movie and they started trying to build...
Make a franchise,
something where they never had to have the end goal. Like, they took almost the J.J. Abrams approach of there is no answer.
Like Lost.
Just keep going. Just keep going down the path. There is no answer. Just keep going. And that's how they construct their plots.
Yeah.
Does this plot end? I mean, in a way, the villain is defeated, but the larger scope of the plot is not in any way resolved.
That could be the whole reason behind the whole multiverse, because they're like, well, if we fuck up, we get to say it was a different universe, and we just...
This is the thing.
Kind of like Doctor Strange, how they're kind of doing that.
They've already shown their hand that they're going to plan on doing incursions. Yeah. That's how they're going to get the X-Men in. Although I had a thought today, how great would it be if the X-Men appeared because the Hulk snapped them into existence without thinking about it, because Professor Hulk thinks that he has everything under control, but deep down, deep in the back of his brain, something still said, I want there to be other crazy
Which,
super
Tangent 30, I heard something that did kind of sound cool. Remember when Captain America grabbed Thanos' glove at the end of Infinity War and then Thanos punches him?
Yeah.
People say now, and this makes sense, that it actually killed him, and when Scarlet Witch destroys the Mind Stone and he returns time, he comes back to life. And it's like, that's kind of cool.
An interesting idea.
Because really, when Thanos punches him, he's done. And you're like, okay, a being like Thanos, regardless if you're Captain America, punches you full in the face, you're gonna fucking die.
He fucked up the Hulk.
Yeah. And Thor.
Yeah.
And Captain America's strong, but he ain't fucking Thor. So I was like, that's kind of neat.
An interesting idea.
Yeah, he might have killed him.
My argument would be the time seems to be centrally located to the Vision itself. The use of the Time Stone seems to be centrally located. But we also see the
trees come in. Yeah.
So I don't know. It's an interesting idea. It's an interesting idea.
Okay.
While we're talking about Marvel,
yes,
our boy, our daddy, the one that we love,
Deadpool.
Well, we're gonna get to him too. Oh my God, Pedro Pascal is gonna be Reed Richards. Oh my God.
Oh,
Can I speak Spanish?
I like the casting.
Saba.
Sounds like Spanish to me. I like the casting. I'm just so terrified.
This is exactly what I was going to say. I look down the line of all four and I say, this is all good. It's not going to work. One of the movies we were going to talk about is Palm Springs, where we still might get to it, we might not. One of the things in that movie is this idea that Andy Samberg is supportive of these different ideas that Christina Maloney comes up with, but ultimately says it won't work.
Yeah.
It won't do anything. But hey, if you want to spend time on it, great. You go right ahead. And that's kind of where I'm at with this news. Oh, you're going to bring in Pedro Pascal to be Reed Richards? That's interesting. It's not going to work. Oh, and you got Vanessa Kirby? I mean, she's fine. I don't have anything against her. It's not going to work. Oh, and you got Eddie? Eddie's going to play Johnny Storm. Wow, it's not going to work. And you got, oh, I actually kind of like this. The guy who's going to play Ben Grimm played, what's his nuts?
What's his nuts?
In Punisher, not Modem or Dial-Up. He has some name like that, though.
I know.
Hard Drive or something.
Hard Drive.
But he's going to be the thing. Okay, I like this. It's not going to work.
See, I think a lot of the success of this movie,
yes.
A lot of the success of this movie, to me, is going to really rely on what what the thing looks like.
Yeah.
Because I'm not gonna lie, the was it Andrew Tran or who's the Tran, the guy that did the last one?
Oh,
the Fantastic Four stick.
What's his nuts? Yeah.
I liked how the thing looked in that. Much better than Michael Chiklis in that awful costume.
He needs pants, dude. Like, I get it.
No, he needs pants.
He needs pants.
But like the texture, the actual CGI work,
yes,
actually did look good. And a lot of because they did a good job with the Hulk, not in the She-Hulk TV show, but in the movies they did a good job with the Hulk.
Josh Trank,
thank you. And so a lot of that, I want to see what Johnny Storm's going to look like.
Yep.
As the Human Torch. I want to see how they do the invisibility of Sue Storm. A lot of the stuff
you have
kind of take a mashup of the first two OG movies and the new one, because I did love the Silver Surfer.
Yeah.
And how they made him look. The Doctor Doom in the OG movies.
Oh God, I just don't like Julian McMahon.
I know I didn't like him, but like the look was far superior to Four Stick, which was horrific.
Yes, I mean everything about Four Stick is horrific.
Yeah.
Like there's so many elements of Four Stick that just are bad.
It's just really bad.
They're just really, really bad.
A part of me, I saw somebody had mentioned something online, which I hope it is the case. You don't need to hire a great actor to play Doctor Doom, because you should just be able to hire a voice actor, because the helmet should never fucking come off.
Yeah, seriously.
And that to me is like everything we've talked about with Marvel. And it's like, yes, get a voice actor. Like, I don't give a fuck. It's someone famous, but just don't ever show their face.
Yeah.
I mean, fucking Bradley Cooper did it. You never had to see his face when he's rocking fucking raccoon.
I know, right? That's crazy. That's crazy pants.
Yeah.
That's unheard of. How could this ever be allowed
same with
to
Vin
happen?
Diesel as Groot.
Yeah.
You didn't fucking see. You knew it was him.
We all knew. Nobody was under any aspersions of it being something else. We all knew.
Yeah.
I did think today, we were talking a little bit, me and Kelly, about Viggo Mortensen, because he was on a podcast and he talked about how he was offered Wolverine and he turned it down to play Aragorn.
Yeah.
Which is like, great. Viggo as Doctor Doom. I'm in. Let's fucking go.
That'd be fucking awesome.
But like, you gotta get it right. You can't just bullshit your way into this. He can't just be some primpy. He can't be a Tony Stark type. That's not Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom has lived through tragedy and pain and anguish.
Yeah.
His mom is literally taken to hell by the devil. Okay, so like, you gotta get that right.
Yeah.
And magic and technology are equal parts of Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
So it's not just like you have to have him be a tyrant, and you have to have him be broken, and you have to have his humanity drained out of him, but you also have to have him be desperate enough to try literally anything.
Yeah.
Also entitled. He thinks that all of this is owed to him. All this knowledge, all these abilities, all these things. So looking around and seeing all these superhumans, he's owed the chance to be one of them.
And if you believe the rumors that Marvel is going to lean into Doctor Doom to replace Kang, then you got to get it right.
You got to get it right.
Because you fucked up the first time because you put a abusing piece of shit as your main villain, and now it's like, all right, well, we got to replace him with someone that we can fucking trust.
Yeah.
And we can't fuck it up. But
No.
I don't believe that they won't.
See, this is the thing, and we're going to talk about this in a second with Deadpool, too. I have no reason to believe that this will work. I have been given nothing in the last 5 years that I can look back on and think, this is going to work.
Do you know why I have less faith in you? Because I've watched the Marvels and you haven't.
Oh, yeah, I haven't watched that yet. I saw the end credits sequence. I didn't see all of it. I saw that Beast is in it.
I have far less faith than you, let's just say. Because
Yeah.
even my wife, and we'll talk about the Marvels some other time, even my wife was like, that was fucking terrible. I
Yeah.
was like, oh my God,
Yeah,
you
no,
don't like comic book movies.
Kelly asked me a little while ago, like, do you want to watch this? And I was like, want? Want to watch this. Want is a really strong word here. There's a lot of flirking in this movie. They've been very vocal about how much flirking there is in this movie, and I am not here for it.
Yeah, flirking sucks.
I
Let's
didn't
just say
come
that.
here for flirkins. I came here for
Dude.
Carol Danvers. God damn it!
Just wait till you watch it.
Oh,
I'll be able to
terrified.
hear you. I'll be able to hear you screaming from my
I
house.
don't want to. I very much don't want to. There's so few things right now that I don't want to watch more than the Marvels. This is how all Marvel content has gotten.
Yeah.
These last few years is the Marvel thing drops and my stomach drops with it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh fuck, I gotta watch this. Oh,
Yeah.
I don't wanna. I don't know. Don't make me. I don't want to do this, man. Don't do this. Like, you've already put me through so much, and as high as the highs were, man, the lows have been really low recently, dude. Like, I thought 2017 was a low watermark for Marvel on a lot of levels.
Dude.
Because, like, I'm one of the crazy people that look at Thor, the good Thor, and say, this could be better. And all of 2017, I was just like, man, this fucking sucks. Not just Homecoming, Guardians 2, that fucking sucked, dude. I have so much less faith now than even I did then. Where, like, I remember going into Infinity War and being like, oh God, I really hope this is good because we've been working so hard to get here and it's finally here. And if this isn't good, then it was just this giant waste of time. And then it was really good. And I was like, yay, it wasn't a waste of time. And then I saw Endgame and the exact same feeling washed over me. But by the end of Endgame, I kind of still felt like this wasn't tied off really well. The end fight is great. The first two acts of Endgame I have intermittent issues with, ongoing. And just a lot of questions about how they devised this, how they decided to put all this together. And then afterwards, just the full abandonment of everything that happened in that movie. Why is this going to be any better? Why is this going to be any better? I'm going to sit here and be like, so where were the Fantastic Four while all of this was happening? You have a few options. You can say that this universe literally doesn't have a Fantastic Four, and the Fantastic Four that we're going to follow is from a different universe. You could do that. You could do that they're in the microverse or out in space or doing one of Reed Richards' many, many things. They haven't been on Earth in over a decade. There's things that you could say to explain where they've been, but ultimately it's going to come down to the fucking Eternals, where we're all like, so what was your plan for Thanos? And they were like, not our problem. Is your problem. Is 100% your problem. You cannot have your answer be not my problem. It is your problem. It is very much your problem.
Well, and like I'm trying to figure out what are they going to make as their like main adversary in this Fantastic Four movie.
It has to be Doom. How could it not be Doom?
Well, it's got to be Doom, but
you can't do
the Skrulls. Well, see, here's the thing with Mole Man. I think Mole Man is off now because every time I think of Mole Man, I think of the Underminer from The Incredibles.
Yeah.
And then they've already fucked up the Skrulls, so it's like, yeah, it has to be Doom.
Yeah.
And I wanted to go into it expecting, like, okay, some of the earlier, like you said.
You could do Galactus. You could do, like, a Herald of Galactus, like Terrax or Firelord.
Yeah.
Or you could do someone interesting. You could bring in somebody that we hadn't thought of. This is how we find Beta Ray Bill. You know, that he's off heralding Galactus.
I mean, I don't care if they do Silver Surfer again.
But I don't know. I'm trying to think of other big names. Are you going to do AIM? You already botched it once.
Oh, they already fucked it up.
You're going to bring that back now? Are you going to do, who else could we even do? I'm trying to think. Classic villains. Do you want to do the Hate Monger? You could do the Hate Monger who's literally Hitler.
But I think that villain is too small for like an entry level.
El Diablo? The actual Alchemist.
See, I think you're right. I think it has to be either Doom or something like Galactus.
It has to be something.
But whoever it is, I think is what will be the main villain going forward.
Or you do something that's plane based. So you have them go to the microverse or the megaverse or something. You have them go off and be explored. The negative, Annihilus. You could do Annihilus. That's where they've been. They've been trapped in the negative zone. Reed runs an experiment. They get trapped in the negative zone. They've been in the negative zone this whole time. That's where they get their powers. That's where everything's happening. And this whole time they've been keeping Annihilus from taking over Earth. There you go. You got it. You can do it. Are you
There's
gonna?
no way they'll fucking
There's
do
no
that.
fucking
There's
way
no
they're gonna do a
fucking way.
Nihilist. There's no
There's
fucking
no fucking
way.
You know, a part of me does and doesn't want to see Galactus because the only thing we got of Galactus was that awful cloud face thing they did. But like, as much as I want to see him, I'm afraid they're gonna fuck him up. It's like the first time we saw Juggernaut in X-Men 3 was terrible, but then they did it right
They
in
made it
Deadpool
better in
2.
Deadpool 2.
So it's like, I don't know what we would get, and I love Galactus. I think the fact that they have not introduced Galactus is so stupid.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
especially because the Skrulls had to leave their planet.
yes,
You know why the Skrulls usually leave their planet? It's the big purple guy that's literally
eats
sucking the
fucking
life out
planets.
of the planet.
And I mean, everyone loves the Silver Surfer. How you could have been? I mean, once again, these properties I know they probably just acquired from Fox.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's something they could have done in the past, but it's like,
Well, they acquired them from Fox like 4 years ago.
yeah,
You know, it's not like they just got them yesterday.
that is true.
They
It's
got
been
them
a little
4
while.
years ago. You know, the reason we got Kang in the first place was because of some of the fallout from Fox. I think Kang
I
came
want to
over.
know why they said, like, I want to be in that meeting where they're like, you know what? Screw Galactus. Let's do Kang. And half of them would be like, who the fuck is Kang?
See,
You know?
I don't mind Kang. I just think that they went about it the wrong way. Every single time they went about it the wrong way, where we keep on reading these variants of Kang, but they don't have a through line, and they don't seem like they're the same person. They do seem very disparate, which I guess is the point. But then, what the fuck is going on with the Kang that's trapped in the microverse?
Yeah.
Is he part of all of this? Is he not part of all of this? How long has he been down there? Why is somebody from the distant future in the microverse in the past? I end up having just so many questions about this
They
decision.
do such a good job fucking up. Like, I still don't forgive them over Baron Zemo, and it's like,
Oh my god.
you
We
know,
got Sockface eventually, but again, they just dropped all of that.
yeah, you need it in a fucking TV show. It's
Yeah.
like, goddamn, you
He's
have
not
two
even on
movies
the
with him.
Thunderbolts.
No.
They've announced the Thunderbolts. Zemo's not on there. How is Zemo not on? How are you doing the
I can't
Thunderbolts
remember.
and
Was
Zemo's
he
not
alive
there?
or dead at the end of Falcon and Winter Soldier?
He was alive.
He was
He
alive.
makes it out of
that's
that
right.
alive.
I couldn't remember. It's
I
been
think
so
Shield
long.
arrests him again,
Yeah.
and they take him back to jail. It's one of those like, up now that you finished your job, you go back to jail. How are you doing this? How are you finding a way to shoot off
Well,
toes
'cause
when
we
you
know
don't
they
have any
don't
toes
give a
left?
fuck.
No, they really don't.
You don't give a fuck.
They really, really don't. They go through the Encyclopedia Marvelca, and they say, "Hey,
Yeah.
have we done the Depth Man? Or I can't remember what his name is. Have we done El Diablo yet? The actual alchemist who fights Daredevil? Have we done him? No.
Depth
I
Man.
can't remember what his name is, but he's like the Digger or something like that." And he's basically like a zombie made out of a bunch of different gangsters. Like there's weird shit out here. I guess it's like watching a child spin a globe and put your finger on it and have to come up with a story based on that.
Well, and like now that Aquaman is dead, pretty much.
Yeah.
Submariner, fucking roll him out.
Where was the Submariner?
Well, I had read something that they didn't want to do him because Aquaman, the first one, was a success. But it's like, okay, well, now that is done. Who knows when the next time we ever see Aquaman in the DC cinematic universe? Roll out Submariner. I
Especially if
see Submariner.
if you're doing Fantastic Four, you have to do Submariner.
See, what I would be worried, though, is they would do him like Jason Momoa instead of the stoic character he is.
Yeah, no, he needs
And so
to be...
that's what concerned me about
This is the thing, is that... So in superhero-dom, usually the villain is kind of a dark reflection of the hero. In the case of the Fantastic Four, the hero is Reed Richards, who is so caught in his own world that he often fully forgets about his family and everything else going on around him because he's just so focused on this one thing. And so all of the villains, they have that same kind of obsessiveness. And that obsessiveness is pointed in a different direction. And so Namor is obsessed with Sue Storm. And so it becomes like Sue has this person that actually wants to pay attention to her and be around her and is just as smart as Reed, but actually cares about her, but is still kind of crazy. Like Reed is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And Doom is like Reed, but with this sense of power and authority. I'm owed this. This is mine to take. Instead of going out and finding it and discovering it and being an explorer, he says, this information is owed to me. I should be given it on a silver platter.
Yes.
But again, obsessive about everything. And, this would be a great time to bring back Namor after Black Panther 2. They're not going to do it.
No.
They're not going to do it.
No.
And I'm so tired of sitting here and being like, oh, they could do a story where the Fantastic Four get stuck in the negative zone because Tony hired them to build Prison 42, but something went wrong and now they're trapped there and they've been there for so long and they come back and they have powers. That would be cool. I would be totally into that. It's never going to happen.
No.
It's never going to happen. No. And it's, I'm so tired of this. I've been doing this for over 15 years now. I sit here and I say, you want to be really cool? Is if Thor 2 was about the Wrecking Crew.
Yeah.
And how Loki is pulling strings even from prison in Asgard. No, that's not at all what we're going to do. And in fact, when we do the Wrecking Crew, it's going to be just a trash pile.
And then for Thor 2, when you do Malachi and the Dark Elves, you do it poorly.
Very poorly.
And it's like, that's a great storyline.
Yeah.
That was a great villains.
You have the Casket of Ancient Winters and everything.
Yeah.
Like, the whole thing with the Dark Elves and
the Scourge was terrible.
All
it's
of
like
it was
Scourge
bad.
in the book is so much better, and it's
all
not
of
like
it is bad.
Ugh.